Hi, everybody, and welcome to Guild Chat. Happy Friday. I'm your host, Ruby, and as you've guessed, we've got kind of a weird Guild Chat today in a good way. In a good way. We're going to be talking to the audio team, so I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about what you do here at ArenaNet.
All right. My name's Drew Cady. I'm the audio director. Kind of look over Guild Wars 2 and the rest of the team make sure they're healthy and we're going out and recording unusual things and having fun because you gotta have
Yes,
fun at your job, right?
we do. A little. A
And
lot.
but we want to make a good product too.
Yes.
So
You guys do consistently good work, so yes, you just have a whole lot of fun doing it.
and we brought a few toys.
A few. I've adopted this one. We're friends now. We're
Okay.
hanging out. I can't promise to give him back. Joe.
It's okay. I'm Joe Clark. I'm a sound designer here at ArenaNet. All the episodes, creatures, weapons, mounts, you name it.
Don't sell yourself short, man. It says Archduke of Audio.
That's
Seriously.
true.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that, though. That's not.
It's too late. We're talking about it now. This is your
Well,
life.
in 1987. No, it's just,
It started in 7th grade.
yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, I'm Chris Burgess. I am a sound designer, and I do all the audio for cinematics and marketing materials. And when I don't have any of those to do, I jump in the game and help out Joe and Keenan and do some in-game sound and implementation.
And I will say this is, a team effort.
Yeah.
There's also Keenan Sig, Damian Kaspauer. There's John Moses, James Richter, Caitlin Isaacson,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people behind the scenes. We could fit 3 in today, but
Yep.
there are a whole lot more who make a huge difference in the game
Yeah.
and do really, really good work.
So we thank them.
Yes, thanks all of you. So we're going to talk today about some of the things that you guys do to put audio in the game and show how you do it and have a little bit of fun along the way. Let's start with talking about the roller beetle because we did the behind the scenes video a while back on the roller beetle.
Mm-hmm.
We can go a little bit more into depth on some of the specifics about that. Joe, why don't you start?
Yeah, so sound design for the roller beetle. I think when I first approached it,
Mhm.
I saw, had to get a good feel for the creature, and I'm like, this is a pretty cute thing. So kind of wanted
Yeah.
to go down that road with how it sounded and the, yeah. So high squeaky little bug voice and some,
Mhm.
just try to get that kind of feeling from the creature.
Yeah, one of the things that we talked about in the behind the scenes video is how the designers work to take all of the sharp edges off of the creature
Mhm.
and play into that cute thing.
Yeah,
So yeah. We have a big balloon and we have let's not bring it back because Chris has already made enough horrible noises with it to last me the whole rest of my life. But we did have a video for that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's take a look.
So that one was deflated a little bit, and it just had this really shimmering low end and a rubbing of the on the rug. And so did you use that underneath kind of as the glue for when you ride?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's it's engage skill when it kind of revs up. That's
Gotcha.
the real part of that. It's that
Yeah.
and then shoot
So-
out.
That's how a beetle burns out,
Totally.
Things that I never knew.
Yeah.
But it works. I mean, it worked as a good undertone.
I think another feature that was a good choice was I added a sound of a tabla. It's a Indian drum.
Okay.
So you hit it, and then there's got a little membrane you can push down into.
Mhm.
So every time you land with the beetle, it gets kind of like a boom on it.
Yes. Yeah, I
Cute.
commented. Yes.
More cute.
I mentioned
More
that to
cute.
Drew. I was like, it sounds like a rubber ball.
It's pretty
Yeah.
satisfying.
Satisfying,
time
gives
it
it that
lands.
a little more than just kind of feel. I think you feel it more when you land and
Yeah, you
bounce
really, really
and
do.
Stuff, so
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
more character.
Yeah, I mean, as you play a game, I think it's really useful to have a little sense of humor when you're sound designing, and if you can get that in, and it just makes it more playful and fun. and it kind of shakes things up too. So okay, there's a big explosion. That's not cute, but then there's other things that kind of offset that, and so we have a lot of fun. Sometimes we push the envelope and see where that boundary is, and
Yes.
we got a pretty big boundary, so I'm thankful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the beetle burning out, we
Mhm.
have an entire bicycle behind Chris that I kind of don't want to
Yeah.
waste.
Should I wheel that over?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it. Because there were...
So, yeah.
We worked to tether you guys slightly less so you can...
Okay, let's
We
get all of your props.
originally did another bike a long time ago, and we did this again just to get some more squeaks. Let's flip it upside down.
As you do with bicycles.
Yeah.
So you work to get some more squeaks.
Yep. And there's a rubber band, so as we... Perfect.
Thank you, sir.
I will hold the mic. Go ahead.
Uh-oh. That's later. Wait your turn.
Team effort. Cool.
Yeah.
It really stinks in here, you guys.
Burn rubber.
Yeah, I literally burning rubber.
Did you do some other layers in there too, though?
On top of the bike.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of layered 2 bike sounds. Kind of give like a different kind of double vocalization thing. So kind of like, yeah. And then I used Vocal FM to get kind of little mandible-y sounds in the beginning and end of the guttural. So you kind of get that kind
Right.
of thing. So
Right. Make it more of an insect.
correct.
It's a beetle, but yeah.
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 It works.
Very cool.
Well, okay, so we can talk about another insect though that it's a nice indicator. I like talking about the scarab
Mm-hmm.
because it's a nice indicator of how unbelievably far you will go to to capture some footage. And I realized there were probably some other reasons. But let's talk about the scarab audio. Let's start with a video.
Let's start with the video.
Yeah.
This is a video of Malaysia.
This is all your footage that you captured while you were there.
Correct. Yeah, I had a trip in mind for like 4 years or something like that. I really wanted to go to a jungle, feel, smell, hear, like what does that really feel like? We did Heart of Thorns, and I wanted to experience that, you know, as an artist. And we have some, you know, rainforests around here, but you know, go dense in a jungle somewhere I don't know, different creatures. I didn't know what I was going to find or record or anything. And so spent 2 weeks, went to Malaysia, went to Borneo, and came back with some really unusual sounds, and we started working on this scarab plague. Cool. So there was some cicadas. That the last frame there was this really large cicada. He's about 2 to 3, probably 3 inches long. He's really, really large, and you mostly hear him in the background. But I found one of them, and I kind of followed him around and kind of nudged him a little bit, and he'd be really bitchy, and then I'd nudge him again, and I'd nudge him again, and then he finally flew off. So it was really useful to kind of have a larger, buzzy, I don't know, some fodder for Chris to go and take these sounds and kind of play with that as a base, and then we can kind of find other things and textures that sound like that, and start kind of beefing it up. So maybe Chris can take it from there.
How did that give you a starting point?
Yeah, well, it had been on our plate for a while, and I think it had been a big question mark of what the heck are we going to do. And then you came back from vacation and just pulled us all into your office, and we were like, I was just like, oh my God, I can't believe some of the sounds we're hearing. I didn't know these types of sounds existed. And so we were thinking about that swarm, and we needed it to sound massive because the scarabs would never exist in a singular fashion. But I think how we used like the vocalization you just heard, it's like that was one of the main assets I used, and I think that kind of gave a more singular voice to the swarm to try and focus it a little bit and give it a bit of a hive mind idea. So while you've got this big zzz thing coming at you, you've also got that one thing just getting at you. And the other awesome thing about working with Drew is he just like dreams up contraptions and then shows up with them the next day because he's built them. And so I think some of the coolest stuff we got out of Malaysia was that it was reference for what these things sound like.
Correct.
And then we said, how can we realize that in the studio to sort of magnify, zoom in on the sound.
Yeah, you're trying to find that texture and then make something that you can control, and so you can get short and long versions or looping things for the sound designer, because as a sound designer, we have to do so many different things. The cicada only does a short little range.
Yeah.
So this is, I don't know if, Joe, you want to hold that.
Sure. Yeah.
This is, it's 2 nails that I bent, and then you can actually change it and make this tension a little differently, but it's just a rubber band on 2 nails. So that kind of has that arcing, zappy, or beetle-esque, or scarab. So we can use it for electrical sounds, for elementalists, or scarabs. And then there's this other one where I'll be very careful with this one. This one is a little, it's the same thing, right? It's got the rubber band, it's got the 2 nails, but I wanted to get more of the shells and some plastic, and that kind of taps and is more kind of like their wings. And I'm going to move this a little.
Oh, yes.
Because this gets crazy. All right. And then there's a leather strap, and so I can actually just wheel it.
Wow.
Something like that.
And so, yeah, we were able to take all that source, and especially I really loved the one with the shells on it because it had this clatter that we were able to put delays on and just make it sound like a swarm. So and that kind of made the base layer for what the scarabs were. But then Joe had this great idea because we have a hallway that we all hang out in, and that's one of the coolest things about being on a team is I can just be talking about something and somebody has an idea and just it kind of snowballs. And he said, well, sure, the scarabs are on enemy characters or they're on other player characters, but or other real players. But for the player character, your own player character, when it's on you, you should have a special version that sounds like they're crawling all over you and going into your ears. And so we have a video of that.
Oh, yeah.
If we
yeah.
wanna-
Okay, let's look at this video,
Okay.
but not too closely.
Oh.
No, it goes in a minute.
Yeah.
Good
Nice work.
Thanks. Yeah. So Joe had this idea, and Jerry, I think I was walking around the office saying like, I really wish we had a binaural mic setup, which Jerry just raised his hand and said, I have one, brought it in. And what that capitalizes on is the HRTF, which is head-related transfer function, and it simulates putting an object, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it simulates putting an object between two microphones, so you actually get the shading and the time between from one mic to another. So it's simulating going into your ears.
Yeah, the spatialness.
And
Yeah.
so on headphones, specifically on headphones, it really sounds like it's coming, it's very positional around you. So we really wanted this to be creepy and have a sense of touch on the person, and so that's why we did all this very closed mic technique. And we started with the pine cones, and I think I put those into the game, and we said like, it's crackly, it sounds like scarabs, but it just wasn't unnerving. So then I said to Jerry, I said, let's just get all the fruit we have in the kitchen, and we did those recordings. And then I was also breathing on the microphone because it just felt like there's an intimacy and a proximity to that sound. It's like somebody has to be breathing on the back of your neck. So we layered that in there to just try and give players a sense that there's something crawling
They're
on
on
them,
you.
which is really creepy, but that's I guess that's kind of what we wanted to do.
And I was not expecting that. We did an art review for that, and you're like, this other layer here. I'm like, breathing, and you had it textured a little higher or something, and it was different. I was like, okay, I like it. It's great. Yeah, and it totally brings you into more of that emotional reaction instead of just the sonic, okay, it's a scarab.
Mhm.
So it worked out really
Yeah.
well.
It
Yeah.
works out well. It gives
Yeah.
you that back of the neck, like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
yes, which is exactly what you were going for. So
Tickle
Yeah.
the nerves there, tickle them a little
Yep.
bit more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, and interesting. I had no idea about the microphone setup or the headset. So
Yeah, it came from, I had done a previous project where it was about a haptic VR glove, and they wanted this they wanted that very close sensation, and I don't know that I transferred that knowledge over to this project, said we can take advantage of this and manipulate people through sound. Yay.
well, good work.
Thanks.
I have a note that we have another scarab video that we want to look at. Yes,
Was this the scarab
the
wall?
wall video.
Yeah, this was another sound that was called out. This
Yeah.
was, the scarabs were such a big part of episode 3. And this was, I think, a very last minute thing for me that we needed a sound for the scarab wall. And I was talking to Keenan about it, and I think I was just asking myself, what does it sound like if Joko was summoning these evil scarabs from like the depths of hell, and the air was tearing open to open this dimension and this whole, and like we're in like a convention center, like ballroom sized room, and it's a wall of stuff. So it was just an opportunity for me to make a really big distorted sound, which I enjoyed.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, and to be clear, that's that final fight where it's coming across the room and you have to find the hole to duck through.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this video just breaks down the layers and what went into that.
Let's take a peek. There were really a lot of parts that went into that.
Yeah, and I have an obsession with synthesizers and trying to make them sound organic, and Nine Inch Nails does a lot of this in some of their soundtrack work. And I think I was just constantly searching for layers that just sort of have that beehive, unnerving quality to it, and trying to make it coherent.
And you're using kind of pitching up and down, and that's a dissonant effect that really is unnerving as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just taking everything and writing the same path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had several layers of the frogs, and one was going up and one was going down, so it was just this ugh.
Yeah. And the frogs were just me camping and, just recording them, and then, I don't know, I think I pitched them down 2 or 3 octaves or something.
Mm-hmm.
Put that in the library, and so you never know. We do a lot of stuff where your ear hears something and you just record it, you toss it in the library, and eventually we'll get to it.
Yeah.
We do Foley Fridays, where we have an intention, like the pine cones and all this, that was done on a Foley Friday. We're like, we intentionally need this, and sometimes, I don't know, this is a really cool object. We're just going to record it anyways. But that's the kind of fun of the sound designers coming back into the library and going, I would have never thought about recording this, or what in the heck is this?
Mm-hmm.
But it fits my, object there or event that I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll look at some of these really cool objects
We have other
here in a little bit.
Yeah, we have some toys.
I want to talk a little bit about Joko first, because you guys did amazing things with him and his disgusting self pulling himself back together after we beat the crap out of him. Let's start by looking at his cinematic, because there was a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
So
impotent. I feel for you. I really do. But let's... The rumors of my immortality are drastically understated. Oh, Commander, you look so disappointed, so impotent. I feel for you. I really do. But let's be honest. You knew in your heart. Fear not. The world will not forget you. The scars you've gouged into it spell out your name for all to see. I confess I was happy to take credit for your victories. But did you ever stop to wonder what that says about you? That so many bought what I was selling. They call me a monster, and you a hero. The world expects Palawa Joko to dare to throw reality into chaos. But surely, no mortal would be so monumentally stupid as to destroy a dragon, the life force of this world. Let alone two, and a god to boot. Perhaps they will finally thank me for luring you to me, so that I may save the world from you. And once you're gone, everyone will flock to my embrace. They will all love me, Palawa, Ignatius.
Nice.
Good work, Mark. All right, so Joko had a lot going on there. Like, you guys, not just in the story and in cinematic, but you guys conveyed a lot as he was working through his personal mobility issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a really exciting cinematic that came in. I think this was the first time we had leveraged mocap or full body mocap. And it was just sort of a question I kept asking, like, wow, this is the first time we're bringing a Gilgore's character into that fidelity of motion, and I just wanted them to feel like a real person. So we leveraged a lot of foley, which comes from Jack Foley, so it's a capital F, and that is the technique of recording sound to a picture. So instead of just recording one-off sounds, you're actually performing the sound to picture, which usually for me just makes editing easier because it's already synced. Yeah. But what that means is that we were doing the staff, and we would record the staff 2 or 3 different ways, which we actually have down here.
We have a staff. Careful of the
Oh, you got it.
wires.
We were doing the footsteps, we were doing the cloth, the jewelry. And this is...
Yeah, this is like a 1.5 inch, 6 foot rebar. It's for putting in foundations so the foundations don't bend or crack or anything like that. And I just kept one around because you never know when you need it.
Yeah.
And it's come in handy several times. And it's perfect for this spot.
Right.
It's perfect. Also for the warden in the raids, the raid boss.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think how this conversation usually goes is I'm just in our recording room, like digging around. I say, I need a staff, and Drew just kind of wanders in, and there you go. And I'm like, okay, wow, great. But another cool part about this Foley and recording collaboration for cinematics is we have team members who are enthusiastic about different types of sounds. And I know, Joe, you love gore, and as soon as you heard me talk about this, you were like, I'm doing the gore. And I was like, great. He came in with celery and a bunch of vegetables. And
Quick stop at the store on my way to work and got my gore juice.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So and Caitlin helped us record some of the staff Foley. So it was a real team effort to get that cinematic done. But one of the coolest things I think about trying to bring a character to life like that is how sound can play off of narrative. And so we have a video that shows some of the behind the scenes of those layers of Foley. But something like the footsteps, you know, Joko starts off, he's just been defeated in battle and he's rebuilding his body. So we perform those footsteps on a concrete floor with some sand to give it texture, barefoot. And we're sort of scuffling around and dragging our feet and doing all this shh. And then about halfway through, he starts walking a little more, a little better. And by the end, when he's fully recovered, he's heel, toe, very relaxed. And he does like a little pivot and spins around. So we wanted him to feel agile. And again, the staff, I looked at that thing, and it's huge. And he's just wielding it like, and I said, that staff should sound really heavy because it just shows his strength. So that's a moment that we can play up the narrative without having to say anything or really telegraph that. He's just, when he goes like gunk, we want to hear that.
Yeah.
And as he regains his power, we actually layer more sounds into the staff. So by the end, we're putting like taiko drums underneath his staff as his speech is getting more intense. And by the time he finally drops the staff, I think we layered like a cannon underneath it, just because I wanted that to just be like, he's done.
Yeah.
And last, before we show this video, the jewelry this is very personal to me, that like every day for years after school, I would go home and my mother and I would watch like Oprah, Ellen DeGeneres, and All My Children, probably in that order. And there was this character on All My Children, which was a soap opera, if nobody knows what this is. There was a character who wore so much jewelry, and she would talk with her hands, and you would just hear clang, 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 and you could barely understand the dialogue. And this was as a kid. I wasn't even interested in sound that much, and it was burned into my brain. I said, why is this like this? You can't understand the VO. Years later, this Joko cinematic comes in, and he looks like he has some bling. And I said, I want to hear how decked out this guy is every time he moves. And it just I was like, it's that character. It's that lady from this soap opera who has all the jewelry. So I made a string. I took pins and put them on a string of yarn and got some measuring cups and just performed it to picture. So when he's shaking his hands, you're hearing all that. And I don't know how much that adds to the story, but it definitely satisfied this clearly deep-seated, this sound was just in me somewhere. So anyway.
I love that story.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
It is. It's so good. Did you guys know this?
I had told it to Drew.
I love it.
Yeah.
When that cinematic came up, it was like, we got to do the pole and we got to do the gore. And I'm like, and we got to do the jewelry.
Yeah,
He's like, okay.
it's a real
perfect.
personality. Yeah.
Well, let's take a look. That is really good. And I was saying while we were watching the video, all of these things that you guys point out, I can't unsee them. Like he's just tossing the staff around like it's made of nothing. And I heard the jewelry, and I will never unsee and unhear these things.
We obsess over the details for sure.
So, and it shows.
Makes it believable.
Yeah, really, really,
That's
really
our
good.
job.
It's all part of the immersion, and like even the small details of like, the jewelry. Like even if you're not really conscious of it, like now you hear it every time, but even like unconsciously, it just makes you feel like more immersed.
Yeah, it makes it more real. It is
Yeah.
what fleshes out the world.
Yeah, I'm thankful to be in a culture that has that artistry, that handcraftedness, and we have the time to really get in there and feel it and make it really come to life. And so when you're a player, you are in that world, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of being in the world and adding to things, let's talk about the festival going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys got to play around with that, and you have had a little bit of a hand in that.
Yeah.
A little bit, not much.
Work on most of the festival. I think I work on all the festivals. So when this one came back around, there was tons of. It's been 4 years or something since we've been to the Labyrinth Glyphs. Yeah, kind of coming up with fun ideas like, I do the work and I get the sounds in, but I'm like, what else? Like, what kind of love can I add to this map? Like, what kind of fun stuff can we do here? And in the Noon Casino, there is a band. We decided to add them. They play kind of in a corner. We called them Jam Noon. Full internal name. Keenan and I kind of came up with this whole idea, this band and Guild Wars. So you're in Noon, you go to the casino. They're typically always playing there. We decided that, hey, let's bring them to the beach. Let's put them on the road.
They've been working hard.
Exactly. So they are performing their hit single. I can't remember what we called that song. Blast from the Past, maybe? Or
Blast from the Past.
something like that.
Nice.
Some hilarious pun.
Yeah.
If it wasn't called that then, it's called that now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
if you
Kind of hurts a little.
at nighttime, rest in peace. At nighttime, you can find them jamming out on the islands, and feel free to dance along or whatever. Yeah, it's just a fun, organic little thing that we kind of want to keep around in the game, maybe. So keep an ear out for more Jam Noon.
What did I hear y'all call what they're playing? Is it Chartar?
Oh, the char?
Yeah.
Char bases?
Yeah, Charbase, yeah.
Yes.
Thought that was great.
2 basses and a drum.
I like Chartar.
The Chartar is my favorite, yeah.
Mhm.
That's what I usually call it internally, but
Mhm. Mhm.
I like it so much. All right. Well, do we want to see what else we have lying around here? And
We have other even just a vase,
that's
right?
a fish vase with some water in it.
This is my
That sure
friend's
is.
vase. I was pouring a glass of water. Like, can I borrow this? So it's got a lot of character in that bending of the note, and we can sprinkle that into kind of like the tabla was, where it's like a boop, and maybe there's a news or something where we want him. They scaled it up, and we want him to have some little character that bounce, and that's something that we could use.
yeah, I think it's one of those things like you were saying. You never know what you might use it for. Literal, or maybe like that could make that gross, like some indigestion sound,
Yeah.
creature or something. But yeah,
Yeah.
So is that something? Can you think off the top of your head? Is that something that we can hear in game now? I didn't think to ask that until just now, so that's kind of a surprise question.
It's a good question.
Maybe tar? But it sounds bubbling to me.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like an ooze or
it's
tar.
like potion stuff. It sounds like we definitely have some bubbly stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. We also saw a video of a death whistle, and it's a crazy way of their pottery. It's a clay piece, and
Ooh, I didn't see the
it
faces.
has a couple of chambers, and you blow air through it, and it just kind of. It sounds really horrible. It's an
It's an Aztec.
Aztec
Yay!
device where
They actually used to use it during war.
yeah, and as they went into war, multiple people, like hundreds of them, would use these and scare,
That's
their
pretty
opponents.
awful. I can't even imagine.
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
hundreds of those.
Yeah,
And coming over a hill, just horses and that sound
yeah,
in the dark
yeah.
coming at you.
All right.
So,
So let's hear
I'm gonna
one.
pull this.
Yes.
Um,
Thank you.
so we could have bought one, but because I like to build stuff, I bought some Sculpey, which is a clay that you can just use and bake, and you don't have to
Yeah.
use a kiln or anything. So here's a couple different ones, and you can kind of just have a noise in your lip instead of a tonal. That one's a little lower. This one's a little higher, I believe. pretty awful.
So like hundreds of those coming over the hill at you
Right.
on horseback.
And these are a little different, and that's, I think, the fun of it is they're not all the same. I'm still looking for one that's a little more windy. I know it's kind of pinching my lip. But yeah. So we're going to make some more of these. We'll figure it out eventually. Or we'll just have a whole lot of these around.
Christmas gifts for everybody at the studio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No. Oh, yeah.
Joseph, you want to play with this little guy?
Yeah,
Sure.
so, and tell us what it's for first.
So this, we had a lion griffin.
The griffin skin, yeah.
The grand lion. So, yeah, I remember watching back in the day, kind of like a behind the scenes of old Disney sound design from the legend Jerry McDonald, and he used one of these, kind of getting like that creature sound. So like the shape of this, you get the resonant and it kind of like widens it out here.
Mm-hmm.
So bought one. It's actually hard to find one for some reason. So I think I got it
Really?
on Amazon. I don't know. I went to like all these places.
Wow.
I found one. So then I had to kind of like channel my inner beast, I guess, and lion, and kind of get the.
That is extraordinarily cool.
So that was the. Yeah, I started with that for the lion.
So great.
Good place to start. And so I got the real meat and potatoes, and then I kind of layered in some like I was dragging a garbage can on a carpet, some double bass slides, and I think maybe dragging a table, trying to get that like that growl.
Yeah.
You kind of want to start with like the creature sound. You have like the main attack there, but you kind of want a little bit of like the breathe in. So I have a little bit of like a or whatever, and then that sound, and then kind of fade it out with a little bit of a growl, and it just really like makes it kind of feel real.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
That is so neat. So that's our Griffin Grand Lion.
correct. Yeah,
Growl. That's the base of it.
$7 or something.
Jeez. I'm actually kind of surprised to hear that was hard to find, because those are those like little oil lamps that you see
Yeah,
like
I don't
in
know. Maybe it was hard for
Cracker
me.
Barrel at my grandma's house.
Yeah, I went to Home Depot.
Wow.
I think it was the first place I went. I'm like, do you have one of these? They're like, I don't know what that is. I'm like, okay.
Oh, fine. Wow. What else do we have? Do we want to do? I just make scary noises with it. You played Careless Whisper, so this should not be in my hands.
This is the automaton. You can buy these on Amazon. You can buy them. They're made in Japan. A little touch synthesizer. It's got a little face here. If you pinch the
He's so
cheeks,
sweet.
it opens the mouth. You can change the format. And yeah, so you can kind of get like a vibrato. We have recorded these. Good for robots. Not sure exactly how
Okay.
we've used it yet, but yeah, great to have around, and it's also fun to just randomly play. So
But he might show up at some point in game.
absolutely. Not a pro. That never should be. I think with this.
That was beautiful.
If we get you to pose and hold it, will we get a free one?
Yeah,
ArenaNet automaton.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Countdown,
That
give
was
us
amazing.
stuff.
Oh, welcome back. That was incredible. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What else? Are we doing something with the toenails, or are they just for show?
I don't know.
and
They're-
what are they the toenails of? This is my concern. Do you know?
They're dog chew toys,
Yeah.
and
Which,
so they're
sure,
hoofs,
but, oh, okay.
and we got a big bin of them, and I just took them to work. I drilled a hole into each one, and then made a necklace out of it, and I started using them for mandibles for large creatures in Heart of Thorns, and this is nice clacky. Yeah.
Can I get that off there?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Let's find
I'll
out.
get the thing. You
There we go.
It helped.
Hooray.
There we go. Yay.
So yeah, it's got a good, it's a little hollow, so it's got that shell, or it's not wood. It has that sense of it's an animal. So when you're using them for mandibles, it's rooted in something. It's just like, that sounds like a 2x4. It's like, it's not a 2x4. So it was fun to make. And occasionally I wear it as a necklace. So, it kind of throws people off. It's good for meetings.
So it says a lot that none of us really blinked at that, and none of us really questioned it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just kind of like, well, because you do. I mean, sure, why not? Yeah. Whoever's wearing it, it's their turn to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, what's this?
It's used for blowing up rafts and things.
Or giant balloons.
Yeah, but it whistles, so.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I was like, I almost had that song. So yeah, it's just kind of random. Throw it into the library and call it good.
Mm-hmm.
That seems there's a lot of this makes a cool noise. Let's put it in the library and see what happens.
Yes.
That comes back and works, which sounds like random and kind of silly, but it seems like it has done you a lot of good.
Yeah.
And been super useful in game up to now.
And it's it's a realistic sound. It's something that we've recorded. We have the control over. So instead of sometimes a library has like one version or a couple versions, but it does the same thing. And we can do all these different, going up and going down, like I said, positive and negative, and kind of guide it. I was replacing my dishwasher. This is a dishwasher hose to go to the outside, to drain the water. And you can get like elk bleats. Or you can go really, really hard and get that whistle. So if you wanted to do some cave drone, maybe do it really slow. And then pitch that down. Some energy. You can kind of do beat tones with singing into it as well.
So you've got 4 different things,
you got a lot of things
out of
going
a
on.
dishwasher hose.
Oh, and you want to hear it? It does one more thing too.
What? I feel like you were saving the best for last.
Well, you can swing it. I mean, you can blow through it, but like you can swing it, and hopefully
I trust you.
Here, let's not hit anything.
The breeze is so nice right now back here.
So, yeah. So then you can get
Very
that
cool.
constant cave drone if you want, instead of trying to blow through it and circular breathe.
All right.
That's hard.
So you've got...
That's kind of what we approach, like most things with, we bring them into the room, foley room, and like, how many sounds can we get out of this thing?
Right.
Like, we might have like an initial, like, this sounds cool. I did this sounds awesome. Then we will definitely go at lengths and be like,
what else can we do with
exhaust
this?
all possibilities. Every sound we can get out of this thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, what is the object that you brought it in for, and then what else does it do that I have no idea, right?
Yeah.
And if you can't find anything, you just smash it. And
That's the final
You
sound.
smash it with
Everything's
purpose,
smashed.
not
Well,
just
yes.
destruction, but like you get the smashing noises.
and you smash it, and then you make smaller pieces, and then you smash the smaller pieces into smaller pieces. So
We've done a lot of that.
there's a progression.
And
And
you
then you
sprinkle
walk
sand
on
on the
those.
smaller pieces.
You have to be
That sounds
careful
great.
at how you smash.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you walk
Yeah.
on them for footsteps.
Yes.
We're professionals though, so don't do it
Yeah.
at home.
Right.
Do not walk
Careful.
on things at home.
Yeah.
Wear the proper shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So speaking of getting lots of uses out of things, here's my question. I've been trying not to be very self-indulgent and like look at all of these other things first. Do we have other things that we're looking at? or I feel like we've like pulled up all the weird crap that we're going to.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm scared to try to get that giant double bass. I feel like that's just for show at this
It lives
point.
there now.
It lives. That's
Yeah.
its home now. And I don't think there's much with the Devo hat other than just wear it because it's neat.
It's above the fireball, and
Yeah, the
and the
fireball
belt that was used for the Phoenix glider,
Oh right. Yeah, that
which was in those videos before.
Yes,
but
we're not doing that in here because it involves setting it on fire.
Nope.
I'm sorry, I
We're
don't
fine.
want to be the fun killer.
I was
know.
promised fire.
Well, and you can go back to the Foley room and you can set things on fire, but I'm
Not
not.
in the Foley room. No.
I'm actually not allowed to set things on fire here. There's actually
Okay.
a rule about that I didn't make. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, but here I can do that. All right, so here's my question. And by the way, if you guys have questions, put them in chat and we'll try to answer some at the end.
Can do some of those, yeah.
But I have a question because I know this was used for the skimmer, and I want to know what else it can be used for.
What else it can be used for? It
Yes,
was also
can we
used
do
for
more?
the roller beetle.
Actually, it was, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
The roller beetle was also interesting in the sense of like two mounts in one. So while I was designing the creature and the sounds that the foley it makes, the sounds it makes, I also had to kind of figure out what this bike sounds like that you're riding, and then how those two work together and don't sound like crap. And
Not sound like crap is always an amazing goal.
that's my check mark first. Yeah,
Yes.
it's like perfect.
That's
We're
the
done.
baseline,
Good.
and then it gets real
And you
good.
polish. So yeah, turned around my chair. My synth, the Theremin's always in my room, so it's a good go-to. And it has. All right, we can just.
Oh
pull
yeah,
it up.
tell us. Okay, so tell us what this is and get us started.
Cool. I think I've talked about this many times now.
Yeah, we had a thing at PAX last year.
We did have a theme at PAX last year.
This is incredibly cool.
I'll move that further away. Okay. So it's the Theremin. This one is the Moog Theremin. It has tons of different presets. So you have the classic Theremin sound. Pop that up a little bit.
It's very spaceshipy.
Pretty much the soundtrack to all sci-fi movies from the 50s.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have the Theremin. The right antenna is for pitch. The left
Okay.
antenna is for volume. So as you get closer to this one, the higher the
It's
pitch.
higher.
And then further away, the lower. And then volume, the closer you get, the quieter it is. So kind of like move your hands around like that to kind of dampen it, and
Okay.
then
Oh,
play your
okay.
sounds. Yeah, it's a very interesting instrument because, unlike other instruments, you don't actually physically touch it. It's kind of emitting this like electromagnetic field around these two antennae, and it's kind of like proximity based. It changes the volume and the pitch. That gives me a lot of great room to kind of get those gestures. When I was doing the skimmer, which I believe is, hold on, bear with me. Here we go.
Ooh.
That was
See, I feel like the lab coat should be happening at this point.
Mhm.
We didn't think this through.
yeah. So I mean, kind of going through these and being aware of what this can do. I just knew like that's a whale sound. That sounds like a whale. So kind of fits that aquatic skimmer thing, and
Yeah.
that became that. Yeah, it became the voice there. To kind of get those gestures, like kind of curious and then like sad.
Oh.
Yeah, for the beetle, use this.
I like to imagine he's putting it to say roller beetle.
The roller beetle, yeah. Kind of get that synth bike kind of sound.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
That's extremely cool.
Absolutely. Would you like to try it?
I would love to try. I'm actually more tethered than you guys. I have less leash than anybody, so
We can bring it to you.
there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so this.
So you want to keep
this-
your hand here.
keep
That
my
will
hand
make
here.
it silent.
Okay.
So as you pull your hand away, the sound will come up.
Okay. And this pitch?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. I made a 50 spaceship.
Excellent. I
Okay,
really
so-
get that 50 spaceship sound. You want to add a little vibrato. So yeah, exactly. Natural. Got it.
Okay, this is amazing. You want this back, right? Because
Sure.
I
Yeah.
would just drive everybody in our pod crazy. Okay, that's extremely cool.
Absolutely.
I won't drive everybody insane, but this is an amazing toy to play with.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not just put? I would want to put whale song in, like all the whales around Lion's Arch. I'd be okay. I have to do more. I need more of those.
I do try to add some whale calls into some deeper water areas
Oh, really?
every now and then. Yeah.
You should, because that's incredibly fun, and
Mhm.
I'm very, very bad at it. But I would want to play with that all the time. But
It's
then
a lot
you
of fun.
guys have all the best toys in the whole building, so. All right. Well, do you guys want to answer some questions from viewers?
Sure.
And I'm just going to come over here.
I guess that bottom one, Durzal. What is the relationship between audio and programmers like when implementing sounds? So we have our own tool set that we've created and worked with the developer to create that.
Mhm.
And then as we kind of go through different episodes, and sometimes we need new functions, but a lot of programming has been done and giving us the kind of keys to the palace, so we can do anything that we need to do.
Mhm.
So we take a lot of rights, creating the sound, foleying, creating the asset itself, and implementing it
Mhm.
like a designer would. And so we do have a relationship, but it's very empowered for us as an audio sound designer.
Yeah, I think this far along in development, I think it's been years and years. They trust us.
Yeah.
It's kind of
So the
thing,
relationship
so-
is
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
the relationship is very good.
I mean, you still do want to continue to collaborate and
Absolutely.
collaborate with the designer and,
Mm-hmm.
the developer
Mhm.
and the designer too, because the designer comes to you with this dream, narrative comes with the story, and then we help realize that whole thing with them and sonify it and make it feel right. So it's definitely a team effort.
Mhm.
So I can't say we aren't using developers.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Absolutely.
conversation, I think, has just shifted a lot more to please help me hook this up to more. How does it feel? How does it work? How does the player interact
Correct.
with it? To give me the emotional context to go say, okay, it needs to be scary and fast, or
Yeah, it's more getting the detail than toss it over the fence and trigger it. Which was 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago was really you created assets, you lobbed it over the fence, and you came back later and go, okay, well everything's hooked up, everything's sonified. But yeah, now we can really spend that time and work with the entire team and make sure it's really stitched in and feels right. Yeah.
How about there's one from a viewer. They want to know, are there any sounds that stand out in having needed multiple revisions?
all the time. He says with the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, I guess.
And a single tear.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a different. In this genre, we have some flexibility like that. I think it's really powerful to create it, get it in, listen to the feedback, play with the fans. I think that relationship is wonderful. So we have come around and iterated a few times. As Joe was saying, he's added some whale sounds into the deep waters.
Yeah.
We actually changed the water. So instead of it just being thick all the time in a small lake or a deep, ocean, we've made it dependent on how deep you are. So it gets heavier and heavier and less detail at the top, at the bottom than the top. And it's subtle, but we've iterated on that a few times. Keenan did a big pass on like all the water in the entire Tyria, which is impressive.
Mhm.
I don't know. You have any iterative sounds that you've? Okay, maybe that wasn't perfect, but now it is.
Yeah. Recently, we put out the new Verterac Warhorn. Yeah, I kind of we have the sound of it, like the tuba kind of feel, and I felt like it was missing a little bit of something. And I added, so you get the big horn blast, and then as that kind of fades out, I fade in kind of like a spooky spirit kind of wailing sound. So you get that boom in the tail of it. And I think that is really, being from the weapon itself, being this like creepy tuba thing,
Yeah.
sousaphone, or whatever it should be. Yeah, I feel like that really added a lot more to it, other than just like the initial sound of it. Yeah. So.
Nice. What else? Oh, I see one that I'm very interested in. That last one.
In the cinematic,
Who did the
There was a-
arene eating Joko noises?
there was a chomp, which
two.
I did, but
Yeah.
then it transitions to in-game. Spoiler. Then it transitions to in-game, and Keenan did excellent work with like all the gulping and the chewing, and he had it. I would keep going into his rooms like, turn it up, man, turn it up. Sounds so good. I want to hear a gulp. So yeah, he did all the in-game stuff.
Good work, Keenan.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
All those gullet noises.
I also enjoyed the screaming. And being thrown
The
across
screaming,
yeah.
that was funny because we were working on that cinematic for a while, and I think I told the team, I was like, I want the most high-pitched scream from Joko. Like, the last thing this guy does in the world is just totally, like, lose it. And so we recorded me doing some very high screams, which of course was just a joke. But then we got the recordings in from Nolan North, and there were some serious ones, and then there were just a few really just like, ah! And it was like, yeah, we can't not use those. And I think we were a little afraid because I was auditioning them with the cinematics team, and they're like, can we use these? And I was like, they recorded and approved these and sent them to us. I'm gonna use the most scream we can
Yeah,
get.
seriously.
Yeah, that's that push the boundary and hope everyone likes it, like does it go
Yeah.
through all the stakeholders? Like,
Yeah.
go! Because it does, it punctuates it, like there is some, he's going through a time. Yeah.
He's going through some things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine the last thing you see is just this maw opening. Yeah,
Right?
there's gonna be a pretty good scream for that, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That brings a question from me. How often do you send stuff off and just sit there like, oh, I hope that's okay?
Not too often.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel pretty confident usually when it's going out there. I'm like, you should be pretty confident.
Yeah, I mean,
Really.
as hard as you guys work and as well as you work together, it seems like it would feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually didn't think of it until you said that about setting that scream off, and then I was like, oh, I wonder.
I think I know marketing and cinematics material go through a review process like 2 times a week, and there are a lot of people who are listening to that and have opinions, which we want to include everybody and create something that the studio is really happy with. And when I'm working in game, it is a lot more of just me and checking with my audio team members and the specific designer. So there's usually only 2 or 3 people, so there are less stakeholders on those sounds for me.
Yeah.
That I need to get approval from.
That makes sense. All right. What else?
Do you find yourselves focusing more on audio during your off-time entertainment, watching movies, playing other games, etc.?
The answer is yes.
I would like the answer to be no. It's I
Can't
think,
shut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a wave with crests and low points, crests and troughs. Where I do love hiking. We live in the Pacific Northwest. There's so much beauty to go and enjoy. I ride my bike and do film photography. But I've got a lot of audio gear at home that if I don't use it, the self-loathing starts to creep in, and I have to turn it on and play with it until 1 a.m, making some sounds. And I do, when I go to the movies, I try and, I don't care if a sound has good movie. It has to be a good movie. It has to work together as a singular package. I don't want to go see a movie just because it has great sound. And usually after the first viewing, then I will go back and say, I'm going to study this scene and break it down. But that first viewing, I try and be a consumer because that's who we make this for. And we want that. I want the experience to read for a consumer, not my 3 audio friends who are like, oh yeah, I heard that thing you did.
I've gone to therapy for it. I'm much better now.
Yeah, recovering.
Let's talk about your basement.
My basement. It's the little lab that I have. Um, yeah, I mean, I can listen to stuff in there, but yeah, I'm not. I guess I do enjoy watching different media or playing
Mhm.
and kind of taking it in holistically.
Mhm.
And I think I've learned to enjoy it more and take it in as a whole. And then on next passes, you kind of dig in and
Mhm.
More
or
critical.
or pause. Let's go to that chapter and like play this one thing. We as a team as well do play tests where we're playing other games, or kind of focusing on what do we really like about this, like what's working or what's not working, or it's cool. Yeah.
You have,
Nice.
you have to.
Yeah.
Wow. So I guess
Excellent.
my mother's watching and says that
Oh,
the,
that's your mom?
yeah,
Oh,
the
hi.
jewelry lady's name was Opal.
On
So
all my
now
children.
everyone knows.
Nice.
On all my children, the
Nice.
jewelry's name
Nice.
was Opal.
Hi, Chris's mom.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yep.
All right. Did you guys get all your questions?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
so.
I forgot. We didn't talk about. There's like this weirdness behind me, and we
yeah.
didn't talk about what this is for. What does this do? We can
So-
finish off with this.
First, the story, my favorite part of this was I will come into the hallway one day and Jerry is just at the end of the hallway pulling VHS tapes like this, like he's lost his mind, and then go.
So it's been used
There's leaves.
for years and years and decades to do wind sounds through leaves, or foley, like walking on leaves, and it's just it's really controllable.
That's extremely cool.
Yeah. So
Is this like one VHS, right?
this is one.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a cassette tape in here, but
Yeah.
that's like it's
Those are very
it's
tiny.
so
leaves.
so quiet and VHS.
But again, you can get more out of that too, like not just your Foley or your
Oh,
yeah, but
right. So
Yuck.
So can you
Perfect.
get some, extra scarab stuff or beetle? I
Yeah.
don't know if you use any of that, but at the end we did kind of get a bunch of more screeches and toss them in the library, and
yeah.
That's pretty cool.
yeah, happy accident. So you have to kind of keep
Happy little
thinking, what
VHS
else
tape.
could this make, right?
Absolutely.
Speaking of Jerry, and
Jerry.
speaking of you,
Yeah.
Congratulations on 10 years at ArenaNet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Drew just celebrated his 10th anniversary here with us at ArenaNet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
14th, July 14th.
Wow.
And
long time.
yeah, I'm so grateful to be here on part of this amazing team, this culture. I mean, I came here to work on a great product and grow, and the culture allows me to be empowered and grow, and it's been it's been a fun ride, and it's been fun to play and be with the fans and kind of get that feedback. So
Well, here's to 10 more.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
So Jerry
Jerry.
Schrader, he was here 8 years. He just moved on and went back home, and so we did a send off for him, a proper audio team send off, where we went hiking. We took the entire team, because you never know what's out in the woods that you need the entire team to work on
It's true.
to actually help you record.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it's not just there's not just frogs and squirrels out there. There's like ghost towns and train turntables and things like that. So Joe had gone on a hike 4 years
Four
ago,
years
I
ago
believe,
or something? Yeah.
and he's like, "Yeah, Drew, so there's this ghost town, and we got to go there sometime." Yeah, totally. Didn't go that year. The next year they closed
Close
it.
it down, yeah.
I'm like,
no. Seriously?
okay, that's a drag.
Yeah.
Look back into it. Okay, we're back on. and then Jerry says, "Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving." And we're like, "Okay, we're gonna send him off. We're gonna go to Monte Cristo, this ghost town." And It turned out to be better than we had imagined, and we brought a lot of gear, so
Yeah,
we were ready for it. We just didn't know what was going to happen, right?
totally.
Yeah,
It's been 4 years. That thing could have been gone.
yeah.
Main attraction was the turntable. I was like,
Yeah.
this thing sounds incredible.
So it's probably, I would say, 50, 60 feet. I'm not sure how long a train car is, but it, is the length of that. It pivots around one bearing, and because it's been there so long and it's really rusty, it groans, it ticks, it growls, it clangs. You can drop the edge and kind of. So we have sounds for Citadel. We have sounds, char stuff. We have things for creatures from who knows what they might end up to be.
But they are in the library now.
And we have a little video
Yeah.
to show you.
Let's take a look.
So that included everybody, like Damien,
Hi, Damien.
and Joe and I were in the middle. It was John and Keenan were at the end. You didn't see Keenan; he was behind Joseph. And then when we looked back the other way, there was Jerry and Caitlin and Chris. So yeah, it was
Extremely cool.
it's a team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Damien just
Jerry.
stepped in.
Yeah, Damien's here.
And yeah, thank
He's
you,
lounging.
thank you so much, Jerry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we already miss you lots. So, and thank you guys for spending some time with us today, and we will see you next week.